Hey everyone. Well, go blue. I decided to start this one a little bit earlier. The game just wrapped up. Michigan just defeated Wisconsin 24-10. So I am going to give my thoughts on the game. And if Marmar comes through, he'll give his. I think he has some. And yeah, the Wolverines won by 14 points. They were predicted to win by 16 points. So hey, that's close. I think we saw a lot of good things today. I'm going to talk about it after the intro. Give me a second here. All right, here we go. Let's go blue. All right, everyone. Welcome back to Big Discussions 76 Sports. My name is Dr. Ann Ward Dunbar. I'm a Michigan alum. I'm a lot of things, but yeah, I'm a proud supporter of our Michigan football program. So the Wolverines just defeated the Wisconsin Badgers 24-10 at the Big House. This was one of the games I went to in 2000. I said that on our pregame live stream on Wednesday night. Um, the Wolverines were predicted to win by 16 points. They won by 14. It was what you would have expected when the Wisconsin Badgers come to town. It was a hard fought contest. It was a physical game. Salute to that Wisconsin Badgers team. I think they were playing a third string quarterback, and Michigan uh, for a good part of the game after that first Justice Haynes touchdown. They attempted to continue to assert that part of the offense, and with little success. And then I think our defense, uh, Wisconsin had success against our defense early on. That quarterback, that Simmons kid, number 15, as Joe Klatt said, he really wasn't trying to throw the ball down the field, but he was taking what the defense was giving him. Wink was blitzing quite a bit in the beginning, leaving that middle area of the field wide open, and that kid was finding his guys right there in the middle of the field. So early on, I don't know. I kind of got the feeling of okay, we should go into USC 4-1, but the way Wisconsin is playing right now, this might be an upset. So I had that inkling early on, and the game for a while from that second quarter into the third quarter, it sat at 10-7, and it didn't really seem like Michigan was going to pull away. There were drops. Okay, Bryce got sacked, and Wisconsin was stuffing the Michigan running game. There wasn't very much. There weren't very many balls thrown to Marlon Klein. I don't know why they're not throwing to Marlon Klein more, since he is, in terms of bulk, our biggest receiver out there. And it seems to me that Bryce could get more production out of him, and quarterbacks like to have that big tight end running around out there as a safety blanket when they can't go outside to their wide receivers. So that's pretty much how the game went. The middle of the game. The second, that from that Jordan Marshall touchdown to the third quarter, it was a bit of a sleeper. It was very much a bit of a sleeper. It was a long week, and I felt myself during that part of the game a couple times going like, you know, there was a lot of complaining on X. Steve Dace, I think he tweeted, Michigan's, defeat is winning the production and the yardage, but they're only up by 2 touchdowns. So Steve Dace was doing his skies falling thing. I think Ronan was also lamenting what was happening in the game. But Michigan finally started pulling away. In my opinion, Michigan finally started pulling away when they did the one thing that I thought that they should do and that they should be looking for, and that was they threw a jump ball to Donovan McCulley over there on the left sideline. Bryce threw it up to McCulley. McCulley climbed the ladder, went up there, caught it, came down with the 1 foot. The ref initially called it out of bounds, but they challenged it. They gave a replay, and the referees ruled it a completion. And then on that next play, it was that next play or two, Bryce hit McCulley out there in the middle of the field between where they were in the end zone. McCulley turned it upfield, bounced off a defensive back, and then turned it upfield and ran it in for a touchdown. That put Michigan up 17-7. But it wasn't up until that point, there wasn't a lot happening there. Please smash that like button. Please let me know what you think there in the chat. Were you happy with today's result? Were you still clutching your pearls? Are you still afraid going forward? I think if Michigan shows this incremental improvement week after week after week, I think Michigan can be back in the top 12, and I think Michigan can give Ohio. Michigan can give Ohio a game. The wide receiver core got shaken up. Most notably, I think they subbed in Andrew Marsh for Channing Goodwin. We didn't really see Channing Goodwin except for on the onside kick and the hands team toward the end of the game. But Andrew Marsh got in there. He played a good game, and he caught balls. He caught some deep balls. So I think going forward, that's probably the lineup you're going to see going forward until something else happens. Samaj Morgan, I think what we're going to get out of Samaj Morgan is those bubble screens, those wide receiver screens, those reverses in the backfield. You really don't see too much going. You really don't see Samaj targeted going upfield. So I think that's what we're going to get out of him for the most part on the offensive side of the ball when he's not fielding punts. But once Michigan Bryce Buckley comes in and says, "Go green." Okay, okay. Well, we got you guys at the end of the month. That threw me off a little bit. But once Bryce threw McCulley that jump ball, McCulley brought it in, and then they scored on that next drive. I think that's when Michigan started clicking again, and that started to loosen that Wisconsin defense up. That Wisconsin defense, they were very, very strong against the run as advertised, and Michigan was definitely trying to throw the ball to counter that. But early on, they were trying to stick with the game plan and running Justice up the middle. Though that first touchdown came from him getting in and then breaking it out. But that Wisconsin defense, in terms of their run game, was as advertised. Okay. Please smash that like button. Shout out to Bolletto. Respect is earned. Please consider subscribing if you are not subscribed. Sharon Moore was back. There were complaints about that. Okay. And Rod Moore came back, and Rod Moore picked the ball off right there in the second half, I believe, which could have been a pass interference call on Jair Hill, but the Wolverines got away with one there. But Rod Moore was back there. He was flying around. He was fast. He was anticipating. He was making plays. So I think having Rod Moore back is definitely going to help the team out going forward tremendously. Bryce Buckley says, okay, he says Michigan State versus Nebraska at 4 p.m. on Fox Sports 1. Bryce, I don't have any Michigan State drops, unfortunately. All of my drops are for Ohio State. But you keep on, and I might get something for you. Let's see. do I have anything else in my notes here before I go over the stats? Once I go over the stats, I'll wrap the stream up unless Marmar or somebody else comes in. As a matter of fact, I'll just do this right now. I'll pin the link to the chat, and if someone wants to come up and say something about the game, I will honor that. Let me see. So that link is pinned there to the chat. If someone wants to come up and say something, you are welcome to do so. Let's see. Yeah, it was for someone who's watched Big Ten football, traditional Big Ten football in October, Wisconsin, Michigan. It was a physical game, and that's kind of what you expect when Wisconsin comes to town. And I think this is, Bryce is still a freshman. He's 18 years old. What you want is for him to continue to grow and get the reps throwing the ball, getting that experience throwing the ball, working his way through those times when the offense is stagnant, learning to take some of that zip off the ball. I think he threw one to I can't remember who that was. I think it was Kendrick Bell. Yeah. Bryce snapped the ball. He eluded the rush. He ran up the right side, and Kendrick Bell was open, and he threw it. Kendrick Bell had to climb up the ladder to get it, and it went through his hands. And probably with a little more touch, a little less force, that was a more catchable ball for Kendrick Bell. But Kendrick Bell also should have brought it in. So with that, I don't have much more. It wasn't quite clear that the Wolverines would pull away at the beginning of the game, but the jump ball, and I think the stats are going to bear out now. Now you have a 100-yard receiver. Now you have your 100-yard rusher. Bryce threw for over 200 yards and no interceptions. So this is, I think, you have a nice formula, and if you keep exploiting that jump ball, in my opinion, and you have Andrew Marsh out there, now he can spread the ball around. You get the tight end going. Now you have an offense that defenses have to respect in multiple dimensions. Okay, it got a little scary for a moment there because it seemed like Bryce hurt his hand. Fortunately, he shook that off. I think that happened on a sack, but fortunately, he shook that off. All right, I'm going to play let's get a word from Brady, and then I'll go over the stats. And if no one else comes, I will wrap the stream up. Give me a second here. Let me look at this. Okay, nothing there. So,
we understand what Michigan football means and what Michigan football is. We will always be about the team at Michigan. This is never going to be about Brady Hoke.
Okay, so I'm going to go over these stats, and then I'm going to wrap the stream up unless somebody comes through. If someone else wants to come through and say a few words, I'll go a little bit longer, but then I'm going to wrap the stream up. Let's see. And keep in mind that for Team 143, this is a totally different mix of kids here. There were growing pains in 2022 when JJ took over as QB1. I think everybody expected the thing to just start clicking. And there were close wins against Maryland at home. There was the Illinois game when Blake Corum tore his meniscus. There were a lot of close games there for Team 143, but it was those games that set the stage for the end of the season and for Team 144. JJ had to go through those growing pains, and I think up until the point at which Blake Corum got hurt, it was very much a conservative run-oriented game plan. So we're kind of seeing Sharon's getting beaten up right now, but we're kind of seeing the same thing: a conservative game plan, working your phenom quarterback in slowly. But if everybody stays healthy, this could really end in a good place. So the Wolverines won 24-10. As you can see there through the quarters, uh, that first Justice Hayes touchdown came in the first quarter, and then the Wolverines managed a field goal in the second quarter. And then you can't see it looking at this, but there were a lot of series that ended in punts. There was one where the Wolverines turned the ball over on downs in the red zone. I'm sorry, in the red area. That's what they call it now. And then that next score, that Donovan McCulley score, came immediately after his beautiful jump ball catch in the third quarter. And then Justice Haynes scored again in the fourth quarter, and that gave them 24 points. So the game leaders, Bryce Underwood, he went 19 for 28 for 270 yards and one touchdown. So he almost threw for 300 yards. Okay. And that's what you want going forward. You want that dimension so other teams have to respect it. Let's see. The Wisconsin kid went 18 for 29 for 177 yards and one interception. That was Rob Moore's interception. Let's see. Their one touchdown came from Dylan Jones, 17 catches for 63 yards and one touchdown. Their leading rusher was Vinny Anthony with 9 receptions and 97 yards. Donovan McCulley right here, 6 receptions, 112 yards, and one touchdown. So that was arguably, Justice had his own monster game, but it was up to that point. I think Wisconsin had solved the running game for us, at least the way Chip Lindsey was calling the plays. And I think it was that Donovan McCulley, his catching and Andrew Marsh's catching, I think that allowed Michigan to pull away and eventually win this game. Let's see. So I'm going to go over the player stats really, really quickly, and then the team stats for Michigan. So I went over Bryce. Let's see. Jordan Marshall carried the ball 9 times for 44 yards. So he got some production in there. Bryce ran the ball a little bit. Samaj Morgan carried the ball once for 2 yards. So that's what we're going to get out of him. A lot of bubble screens, a lot of jet sweeps, a lot of those end arounds. That's what you're going to get with Samaj Morgan. Let's see. Donovan McCulley again caught 6 balls for 112 yards and 1 touchdown. Andrew Marsh had a good game. He caught 4 balls for 80 yards. And then it was Samaj and Marlon Klein. We got to get more production out of Marlon Klein, I think, for Michigan to really, really click on all cylinders. But what we saw today from the wide receivers, I think, was good. Dominic Zavada. Okay, all of your defensive stats are not loaded up yet. Dominic Zavada, he missed one. Okay, so I think last year he was a lock to make everything. This year, yeah, he's missed a couple. So let's see if he can fix that going forward. Let's see. Hudson Hollenbeck punted the ball 4 times for 197 yards. So in terms of the team stats, yeah, Michigan, there you go. Michigan generated 445 total yards compared to Wisconsin's 252. Michigan generated 270 passing yards compared to Wisconsin's 177. Michigan generated 175 rushing yards versus Wisconsin's 75. And Michigan had an average of 7.2 yards per play. Okay. Michigan gained 19 first downs compared to Wisconsin's 14. Michigan was 5 of 12 on third down. They were 0 for 1 on fourth down. That was the low snap by Crippen, where Michigan turned it over on downs in the red area. Okay. Michigan ran 62 total plays. They punted the ball 4 times. And here's another key stat. 1 penalty. Michigan had 1 penalty for 10 yards. Okay. I think that's going to be huge going forward. The self-inflicted wounds. Okay. And here, Bryce didn't throw any interceptions. And the time of possession as the game went on, that evened out. Wisconsin was winning that early on in the game, but as the game went on, Michigan started its offense started to click to a greater degree, and at the time of possession very much evened out. So there is your that's your game. That's the 24-10 victory over the Wisconsin Badgers. And a lot of people, if you look on X, I'm sure some of the other channels will they're giving their reaction now, or they're going to be giving their reaction later on tonight. A lot of people are going to lament the offense, the team just looking more conservative since Sharon Moore came back today versus Biff Poggi. Me and Marmar were texting during the game, and he did mention that it looks different with Sharon there versus Biff Poggi. But I'm happy with today's result. So now it is on to USC, and the last thing I'll say about this game for now, because I'm sure we'll talk some more about it on Wednesday night, is the defense. Let's see. Yeah, if we can get, yeah, the blitzing. Whenever you blitz, Joe Class said this several times during the telecast. When you blitz, you're vacating areas of the field, and a good quarterback is going to be able to look and capitalize on that uh, quickly and easily. So and then the run wall, parts of the run wall, they weren't they weren't successfully establishing the run wall during the game uh, at points, which allowed Wisconsin to move the ball on the ground. So that's something that the team is going to have to work on by the time Ohio comes to town. And then some of the offensive blocking, the offensive line still has to improve. Um, I think it was Andrew Sprague. He was getting beaten quite a bit there by those Wisconsin defensive linemen. So that was the game. So good win, Wolverines. I think that's a step in the right direction. And let me pull this up really, really quickly. If you all have any comments on the game before I wrap this up, let me know. If anyone wants to come and say something, the link is pinned right there to the chat. And if not, that's okay as well. Yeah. So the countdown clock is on. The Wolverines' next game is at USC in Los Angeles, and that is in 7 days, 3 hours, 43 minutes, and almost 42 minutes. So here on this channel, yeah, look for a pregame show on Wednesday, and I think that game is going to present its own challenges, though. From what I watched when the Trojans played Illinois, Michigan should be able to move the ball on that defense. And then the question is going to be, can Michigan slow down the Mayava kid and that Lincoln Riley's offense there out at USC? And I think that's going to be the question. So are we going to be in a shootout, or will Michigan win this one handily going on the opposite coast? I think a lot of the teams have adapted to that now. So if they lose the game, you can't just blame it on they had to go out to the West Coast. Hopefully Sharon Moore flies them out there a day earlier, like Penn State did last year. I think that was one of the keys to Penn State winning that game, is that they went out a little bit earlier, acclimated to the West Coast time zone, and they were able to steal the win out in Columbus. Steve always says, big, show them the book. So I'm going to do it. Guys, I wrote a sports related book. This is it. If you want a copy, there are several ways to get one. You can go on Amazon. These are signed copies. I'm selling here. You could use the information there in the ticker as well. Just send me your mailing address. The hardcover, I'm selling that for 25, and the paperback, I'm selling that for 22. Jim Harbaugh does appear in there. The Fab Five does appear in there as well. The Engineers, a Western New York basketball story, and I think with that, yeah, it's a story about what sports teach you about life as a young person and how those lessons translate into the adult world. So with that, I think I'm going to wrap this stream up. So good win, Wolverines. I know everybody's not going to be happy with it. I'm going to take a look at X and look at some of the other reactions to the game. Everybody's not going to be happy with it. There are going to be growing pains. It's a young team. It's a freshman quarterback. But I think, yeah, just this incremental improvement. These incremental improvements, I think, are going to make the team potentially an at-large team for the playoff, or they'll just miss it. Okay. So with that, I'm going to wrap this stream up. Thank you all for watching. Thank you to Bryce Buckley. I think you're a Michigan State guy, so I guess we'll be hearing more from you the closer we get to playing Cal U or Moo U or Little Brother. I think we'll hear more from you as we get closer to that game. So with that, everybody, I'm going to wrap the stream up. Thank you for watching. Go Blue. As always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Always try to do your best. Take care, and I will talk to you all the next time. Go Blue. Good win, Wolverines. Bye-bye.